Good morning, everyone. Today, I'd like to talk to you about something that even more recently has gotten my attention. And that is the influence that we have on each other by things we, well, first of all, think, say, and do. Our thoughts alone affect, they affect people all around us. Have you ever walked into a room and could feel it in your solar plexus or in your heart that stopped feeling someone is talking about me? If you've ever experienced that, you know what I'm talking about. Did that have an effect on you? Absolutely. And we on our spiritual path are a little stronger than a lot of people who are not there or are working towards it. And we're not even where we'd like to be, but we are striving to be better all the time. However, it can affect us. It does affect us, and it will affect us if we allow it to. Affecting is, well, I'm going to read it. It means to influence, to impact a change. So when you walk into a room and someone is speaking negatively about you, and you feel that is impacting a change upon you. It affects your solar plexus, affects your heart, and then your thoughts begin. So it affects your mind. And then effect is the result of a change. It's the result of a change. So some of us are strong enough not to let it change us in that moment, so that we can go about, say we're in a social event and that has happened, we can go about being ourselves. But it might take a minute or two to get back to ourselves before we can do that. But there are those that are not aware. And we have to, as spiritual beings, become more and more aware of how we affect others. Yesterday, Stan and I were sitting out on the patio and we were talking about something, actually someone's, that we have heard some things about. And prior to that, we love them. We love them. And we try to support them with our thoughts. But then when you hear these negative things, the ego starts to get a hold and starts the yak, yak, yak in the mind. And you may have heard these things from somebody that would not lie about something, but nevertheless, now you've heard something negative about these someones. And you begin to think about that. Our thoughts, it just became so aware to me because not too long after we were talking about this, we called one of them. And we both slipped back into the love that we have for this person. So the negative things we've heard disappeared. And we were able to love and support this person through our conversation with them. And we experienced the joy that this person was feeling because we were loving and supporting them. And of course, they're not going to say anything to us about this, what appears to be a negative thing, which is simply another experience in life that they are going through. And of course, we don't bring it up because we're loving and supporting them to rise above and to be better. But after that phone call, I couldn't help but think about our thoughts prior to that and our conversation prior to that. We were talking about how can we help these individuals. The truth is, it's not to try to help them through the nonsense. It's to try to support them through our love and loving thoughts, because it begins with the thoughts, to help them with our loving, supporting thoughts and our words when we speak to one another about them, to support them with our loving words, and our actions follow. So it's very important to understand how what we think, say, and do actually affect the people around us. It actually affects the earth that supports us. And eventually, if we don't come to realize this, we do affect one another as well, which means we bring about a change in them. That can be positive or it can be negative. And what is it as a spiritual being do we want to be part of while we are living here? You know, often I think of the word charm, which means to gently please, greatly please. But it's also an act or saying believed to have magic power. And in the Course in Miracles, Jesus talks to us about our magic thoughts. And I know long ago I used to wonder, what did that mean 30 years ago when I started the Course? What does it mean, magic thoughts? Well, this is exactly what Jesus is talking about. The power of affecting, the power of effecting one another. Those are the magic thoughts. And the truth is, most of our thoughts are magic thoughts if we are not paying attention to them. So yesterday, I came to realize how much more attention I must give to my thoughts and my words from the offset. Now, these thoughts may enter your mind, but I had a spirit say to me years ago when I was talking about how these negative thoughts were running through my mind. And he said, yes, but you don't have to believe them. So we may not be able to stop those because we are part of the mass consciousness. We may not be able to stop those negative thoughts from entering our mind, but we don't have to believe them. And that spirit's name was Bartholomew. And that was a pearl of wisdom that he gave to me. And I have to keep that in mind. We don't have to believe them. Therefore, we don't have to speak from them. And therefore, we don't have to act from them. And after this phone call with this precious soul that we love dearly, we were enlivened. We were filled with love and joy, because that is contagious. Anything short of that actually pulls our energy down. It pulls us down. It doesn't uplift us into the light. So it is so important to understand that we can be charming where we are greatly pleasing to one another's soul and heart. Or we can use our magic thoughts to affect and effect them in a negative way. Or we can use our thoughts to affect and effect them in a positive way. So if we want this person that we spoke to succeed in life, then what are we going to talk to them about? We're going to talk to them about how they're capable, how they can do whatever to change their life and to be in the position that they want to be in. We're going to support them. But if we talked about this negative thing we heard, then what happens to the soul of that person? They sink down into guilt. They don't feel their worthiness. They don't understand what they're capable of. And it literally destroys their well-being in that moment. And we have no idea how long that can linger on with them. So that's what I wanted to talk to you today about, that we are so powerful in how we affect and influence one another. I know that I want to pay more closer attention to my thoughts and my words and my actions, because I truly claim to love everyone. And if I am true to myself, then I don't want to cause harm or to bring someone down. I want to raise them up. I want them to heal in the light as I choose to heal in the light. So, yesterday, later in the day, I called a friend, and she happens to be with us this morning. And we started talking. And the next thing I know, she makes me laugh. And then I say something to make her laugh. And we forget about our problems, or at least we can joke about them, our seeming problems. So as friends, what did we do for one another? We raised one another up above them. It may not disappear. The seeming situations or problems that are in front of us may not disappear, but we can rise above them. I mean, we laughed, we joked, and our hearts were lifted, and the light enters. And by the grace of God, we move through these things. And that's what we're here to do. By the grace of God, to move through these things, supporting and loving one another. And I also realized yesterday that I often forget to give gratitude to grace. Grace is the silver ray of God. We can call on it at any time. In fact, I believe there was a joke that exists in the universe that grace is the cosmic glue. And we can call on it at any time. At any time. And I realized after talking to this friend, and I said something about moving through these seeming difficulties with grace, that I recently have forgotten to be grateful and to thank grace for the help that is always there, that stands by our side, that will get us through these things. So let's start being mindful of our thoughts. And again, we're part of that mass consciousness. So remember Bartholomew's words, you don't have to believe them. Therefore, we don't have to say or act from them. It's all choice. And I know that we love each other. There is a level of understanding in which we all love and respect one another. But it's so easily forgotten in the busyness of our everydays of what we have to do and how we think we have to be in this world. We forget. But let's become more mindful of it. Let's try to remember that we want to love and uphold one another, no matter what circumstances arrive, no matter what we hear or we see of another, because we're all here trying to get through everything. So these things we heard about another are only their lessons, their opportunities to learn and grow. They're opportunities. So do we want to hold on to negative thoughts about it, or do we want to support their growth and their opportunity to move through whatever it is and learn from it? I know that I want to make that effort to be more mindful and more aware every day of that. And I hope you choose to be too. And I leave that with you today with love and light. God bless you all. I love you. Amen.